Welcome to this Fabricville tutorial. Today I propose to you a tutorial to show you how to make this cape. I made it with the Micole's M7477 pattern and this brown Edmund suiting fabric. We'll need the Micole's M7477 pattern, scissors, some pins, some chalk, 5 snap closures, some interfacing, some lining, the main fabric, and assorted thread. First, I'm going to lay the pieces of the pattern on the fabric, respecting the grain line. I will pin it and then cut it all out. I cut the main cape pieces, including the collar and the belt, in the main fabric, and then I will use those same cape pattern pieces, piece 1 to 4, to cut the lining fabric. I will then transfer the notches, as they will be useful for the assembly of the garment. To start, I'm going to interface the front-facing pieces and the collar. To do this, I need to cut pieces 5 and 6 with fusible interfacing. I lay it on the corresponding fabric pieces and I press it with a hot iron without any steam. Now I'm going to pin the cape panels together, right sides facing. And I stitch. I make sure to leave openings between the notches. Next, I press all these seams open. Now I assemble the lining the same manner and press the seams open. I will turn in 6 mm on the long and notched edge of the front facing, press it, then stitch it. I pin the wrong side of the facing to the right side of the front lining and stitch the facing to the lining. Then I baste the facing to the lining along the open edges. Now with white sides together, I pin the facing and lining to the cape. I stitch the front opening and the lower edge. I trim the angles and I turn the cape right side out. And I press. Now I slip stitch the opening edges of the cape and the lining together. Next step, the collar. I stitch the collar section together, leaving the lower edges open. I trim the angles, then turn the collar right side out. And press it. I pin the collar to the neck edge, matching the notches to the cape seams. And I stitch. I turn in and press the seam allowance of the interior collar piece. Then I pin the pressed edge over the seam. And I slip stitch it. I will place the guide for the closures, which is piece 7 of the pattern, onto the front openings, and I will mark the placement for the snaps. On the right side of the left part of the cape opening, and on the wrong side of the right part. Now I sew the snaps at each marking, the male parts on the right side of the opening, and the female parts on the left. Finally, I need to prepare the belt. I begin by stitching the 2 belt pieces together. And pressing the seam open. With right sides together, I fold the belt along the fold line and stitch the length, leaving an opening. Then I trim the angles and turn the belt right side out. And finish with a slip stitch to close the opening. I pass the belt through the cape's lateral openings And our cape is ready. Thanks for watching.